Check, please.
Hey, welcome back. Walmart is following suit. They are interested in Metaverse. They've filed trademark applications to get into all that, the crypto, the NFT. We'll talk all about it. You'll hear thoughts from a couple of value investors, Paul and Mo, give you some guidance on what you might be thinking out there. A word of caution when entering all this. We show you some financials about what we think is going to happen and where we think NFTs are going to go. It's not pretty. I mean, this story has played out. So if you want to hear sort of contradictory arguments to some of this wonderfulness that is coins and crypto and NFTs, follow along. Paul, what do you think about all this chaos?
All right, thanks, Seth. First off, guys, follow us on Instagram, Everything Money Investing, and then follow Seth, Mo, and I personally because it really helps inflate our ego.
Yes.
So Walmart is now getting involved with crypto, the metaverse, NFTs. Guys, a lot of people use that as validation as to why you should be doing these things. I don't. I just look at it as these companies just want to make sure they're staying in the game. Probably cost them very little to do so. To go back to crypto, this is exactly what I was talking about before about crypto. And people said, oh, Bitcoin has a set amount. Yeah, but we can create 10 billion. How many cryptos are out right now? When we used to make a crypto video, it was like 10,000 before. It's probably way higher than that.
Yeah,
now.
And I think if you ask the standard American who shops at Walmart, a more trusted trading system, maybe Walmart just starts creating their own money. I'm certain they would be more inclined to buy Walmart money when they could just use their own, but we keep going. Yeah, I mean, Paul, these are not.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. What's the demographic of a Walmart shopper? They're probably going to trust the government more than anything, right? Because they're going to be like, why would somebody want to have their own crypto through Walmart, buy it through them, but then also use the U.S. government? This is the hard thing about crypto and all these things. Now with NFTs, people are telling me, oh, Paul, you don't get NFTs. You're right. I don't get NFTs. Mm-hmm. I get it. There could be a value for NFT, just like there will be a value for crypto potentially in the future. But having 10, 20, 30,000 different cryptos, I don't understand.
Well, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe Walmart offers 105 Walmart bucks for $100 of real dollars.
Like
you can spend them. I mean, I guess it's more of a layaways type.
So to me, that sounds like a gift card.
Gift card. So this is not, Paul, I was saying, this is not the first company. So Gap is, you got to hear this stuff, man. Gap is selling digital sweatshirts for between $800 and $400. You get a real sweatshirt with it. Mo was talking about wearing a digital Rolex in one of his videos. Under Armour and Adidas started selling NFTs and completely sold out of them last month. Urban Outfitters, Ralph Lauren, Abercrombie & Fitch, and Paul, an exact quote from a crypto guy, a blockchain manager, said they don't want to miss out. I mean, you talk about the fear of missing out. They literally don't want to miss out.
Even major corporations worth tens of billions and hundreds of billions of dollars have FOMO.
So Walmart hasn't actually done anything. All they've done is just file patents and stuff and file ideas. This is where the headline of the story was Walmart is quietly coming into the metaverse because they just filed a ton of stuff. Because they don't want to, just in case, got to use it.
Right. So deep down, Paul, I've asked you very simple and dumb questions over the past 3 years about how overpriced the market could be. I watched The Big Short, like literally almost once a month. I just like to recap like what happened in the world. And as if it could get worse, Paul, like you were talking about an overpriced overvaluation of a market even 3 years ago on this show. But if it could get worse, now we're creating. We used to laugh about creating fake companies.
Here's where I was wrong. And here was where I was wrong, Seth. I never thought we'd get the 2000 level euphoria so recently after 2000. You follow what I'm saying? Like you say, like Paul 3 years ago. The reason I interrupted you is like Paul 3 years ago you were saying this. I wasn't saying what's happening today. I was just saying the market's overpriced.
Yes,
it's gotten so much worse that now it's becoming this monster bubble like 2000. I think it's worse than 2000. It's funny. We had that interview with Manish, right?
Mm-hmm. Manish
Prabhai. And in it, I disagreed with him on something. He said, well, I think the overpriced market here is based on 20 or 30 stocks. Well, that was 2000. Mm-hmm. It was maybe 50 stocks but it was the idea of what the euphoria was. The euphoria was the big bubble part of it. It wasn't just these set 20 or 30, 40, 50 companies were overpriced. It was the fact that, oh, I have an idea that's going to be worth $300 million if I go public. $300 million was nothing compared to back then. But the whole point was I create an idea, all of a sudden I go public and I'm worth a ton of money. What's the deal today? Oh, we create NFTs. Now our stock price goes up because we're creating NFTs. We just create an NFT and it sells for a ton of money. Why? Because it's an NFT without understanding the fundamentals behind it. What fundamentals are there behind it? I don't know. That's my point. When Seth and I talk about this now, and Mo and I talk about this, we're like, this is what creates me. This is what causes me to go, wait a second, because nobody can actually explain. And then when you ask them to explain it, they'll just say, you just don't get it. I know. And the problem is, I don't think you get it either. Like, we're just trying to ride this wave of euphoria. What are you looking up there, Seth?
Well, the problem, Paul, is, like I said, I like to dumb this down for the viewers at home because I think
dumb it down for me. Don't dumb it down for them.
Well, I think,
dumb it down for me.
They're probably the ones that know.
I try to connect with you watching at home. Like, so we were at a point where we were joking that this company, Nikola, they made a truck that was almost made out of cardboard that they pushed down a hill. And then when they went public, the world gave them a $25 billion market cap.
So for those of you who say Nikola and Ford are different companies because Nikola is a tech company, Nikola used gravity to help show their car.
Well, they're very smart. But the point is, so like we sort of laughed that they created something out of nothing. But the NFT space, it seems like we've gone to this new level of where we're really creating things out of thin air. I mean, real estate in the metaverse, which I don't see how that ever ends. And so, like, man, this is just like, how are they?
So if you buy a piece of real estate,
who, what, where, why are they doing all? I mean,
so let's say hypothetically, and I'm speaking completely hypothetical. Let's say there's a lake or an ocean they create in the metaverse, and you sell a piece of land on it. What's going to stop somebody else from creating their own lake in the metaverse? Unless it's regulated and all of a sudden, to which I say, if it becomes regulated, things like that, then doesn't that defeat the purpose of the whole metaverse being this independent?
Yeah, then you're just back on Earth.
Then, yeah, and I look at that going, we're going to value literally a piece of land in a digital world more than a piece of land in the actual world.
Maybe I'm just dumb, Paul, because if you look at what the world is valuing nowadays, like social media influencers who have a fake life that they project on their phone, yet in real life it's chaotic. I mean, maybe have we moved to a world where we value the concept of being cool, the concept
but that's always been the case. Yeah. That's always been the case. It's always been the case.
If there's an infinite amount of land in the metaverse, say there's no regulation ever, then shouldn't land be worth zero basically?
Exactly.
Well, maybe.
Exactly. Supply and demand, kids. There's a thing called supply and demand. And I know a lot of you out there don't understand the concept, but it's exactly why a Honus Wagner baseball card that's in great condition is going to sell for millions and millions of dollars, because there's a limited supply of it, but there's a lot of demand for it. That's just it.
So what is the take home for very normal people whom I talked to? I had a great conversation with someone who is hardly paying bills yesterday. A friend of mine, a new acquaintance of mine, who can hardly pay bills, but has nothing retired and has about $300 in Bitcoin. The people at home, what is the take home?
If that person's the one that is validating your investment thesis, that's where you have a problem.
Yeah. And there's...
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but if the person who has nothing saved, has never saved, doesn't understand investing, is the reason why you're like, this is going to work, I don't know what to say to you besides if that makes sense to you, then nothing I'm going to say. I could literally be Jesus Christ right here telling you are wrong and you're not going to believe it. And that's fine.
It goes back to the concept of why would you take financial advice from a broke person?
Well, listen, to me, the process is what matters. I mean,
well, if the broke person didn't have a process.
No.
Now, if the broke person,
that's basically what
let me clear it up, Mo. I'm not taking advice from him.
Oh, I know you're not.
I know
Seth.
you're not, of course.
But the point is, he has lived in this world, and the world has screamed to him that in no point should he invest, and Bitcoin is amazing. And so, like, that's just what he did as a young, new person who thought...
How old is this person?
26.
Oh, good.
How thought he was investing, right? And so we've gotten to this stage where these NFTs by these top companies are going to sound like a really great deal. And deep down, I'm just fearful that everyone's going to lose their ass on all this
everybody
stuff.
will lose their asses. It will absolutely happen. And it'll hurt the regular people, not the rich people.
Yeah, there was a quote in one of those articles you sent, Paul, the other day that said, people are going to, unfortunately, lose everything. And that's just what it is.
Listen, I remember in 2000, I tell this story all the time, that my dad had a doctor friend who had $5 million invested in these tech companies. And after the crash, I said, how much? He's like, oh, less than 50 grand now. So it fell over 99%. He's like just wiped out. But I love the guy because he was kind of like, oh, it's gone now. Like he didn't even care. He was like, it's gone. Because I think it was because he invested like $100,000. So to him, he rode this wave of like, oh, I went from $100,000 to $5 million. I don't know what the exact number he started with, but it was way lower where he was just like, well, whatever. And he made good money. He probably made $500,000, $1 million a year back in the late 90s. So to him, he's like, I'll be fine.
Yeah, the NFT space is heavily promoted. I was a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and every video he puts out now is about NFTs. And you sort of deep down think to yourself, man, if these NFTs are so awesome, why do you have to tell everyone about them?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just keep it? Why would you just sell them for yourself? You have to pump.
Well,
I
do understand that to a certain level. Like, I want to promote why Intel I think is undervalued, why I think Walgreens is a good buy, why I still want to, because it's still that aspect of it. But I like Gary Vee for the things he said. It's just like Warren Buffett. I love Warren Buffett's investment philosophy. I think he's an absolute moron when it comes to politics. I just think he's stupid when it comes to politics. But that's okay. Gary Vee, I love his thought process in life and getting what you will get, going after things and things like that. But it doesn't mean that he's a smart investment guy. It just means he has a good. I rarely meet good business people who are good investors, which is sad because I believe in order to be a good business person, you have to be a good investor. And I think to be the best investor, you should be a good business person, or at least understand the concepts of business, because that's what you're buying. So it's just, to me, I look more from a 500-foot view. Why is a 26-year-old broke person saying the future is this? It's not just that one-off. It's also, why does the caddy at Firestone Country Club tell me I'm missing out on Tesla and Bitcoin and all these things, and Tom Nash is a smart one? Okay, those are the indications. When I go to a high school class and teach and they tell me, Paul, you just don't understand blockchain. That to me is the indications of, okay, something is not right here. Kids who have no experience whatsoever are telling me that I'm wrong because I don't understand something. Okay. I'm not saying they're wrong, but when you see all these things working together, I remember when the first Bitcoin boom happened, the waitress at Corky and Lenny's telling me that she had Bitcoin. When my friend Michael Moskal and I were talking about Bitcoin, she interrupted. She goes, "Oh, you guys talking about Bitcoin? I have Bitcoin." It was kind of like, like this. I hate to say it, but when the average person is telling you about an investment, that's when you need to be cautious, because it's been proven time and time again, average people don't do well in investing. The fact that an average person would be better off buying a low-cost index ETF and they would crush the returns.
Yes.
That's how you should know I should not be paying attention to what they say.
So in the end, folks, I sat this acquaintance of mine down. He had about $300 in Bitcoin, Mo, and I put it into our retirement calculator. And I said, if you just put this $300 in retirement calculator and put $500 in for every year and you're going to live till 65, it was going to be $230,000. And I showed him the number and I said, do you think this investment is going to be $230,000? And it then kind of sort of struck with him like, oh, no, I don't think so. And it's like, okay, so a dollar bill is a dollar bill. It's not just, I'll just put a little here, a little there. Now, I've gotten burned in the past, so we're just trying to teach you guys something similar. So that's our take. Be cautious out there. As always, we want to find great deals at a cheap price. And we will see where all this goes. The euphoria is getting insane, Paul. We'll be guiding you all the way.
Well, it's also becoming really quick. It's also become the other day where I read some person claiming to be a value investor said something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, you're going to end up being wrong if you don't buy companies that don't make sense today, because they'll be the companies of the future that do make sense. And I'm like, so now we're at the point where we're trying to justify the nonsense that's being pitched today, because that's just it's just rewording and rewrapping how we're going to look at value. At the end of the day, a dollar's still a dollar. I'm still buying a dollar of cash flow. That's it. And that's the way I look at it. Can that dollar become $10 in the future? Absolutely. And then we're going to look at that way. But the problem we have is when we see a dollar becoming $10 and we value it like it should be $100. And that's where people get the disconnect, because all they see is that ticker price going up.
Yep. And Paul, I brought up the Big Short because, again, it just sounded like what they did with those triple B and double B shares of housing mortgages that they bundled together and created new dog shit back in the day.
Yep.
And then it all exploded.
And then they'll blame... Everybody will blame everybody.
Everybody will blame something.
And I'll just be like, no, blame yourself because you're stupid. So guys, we created the software because our subscribers were sick of waiting for us to make videos and they wanted to be able to analyze their own stocks on their own. So we created the software. We put it all on your mobile phone. So everything you saw in the video is available on your mobile phone in full. You get 30 years of financial data. You get access to Seth, Mo, and I. You get the full 8-pillar analysis. You get the full stock analyzer tool. And then you also get everything that's coming right here. everything down here. Exclusive video content only for our subscribers, everything, the chat community with all of our users. This is all available for only $1 per day. That's it. $1 per day. If you can just increase your gains by 1 or 2% or decreases your losses by 1 or 2% each year, this will lead to hundreds of thousands, if not millions in your portfolio at some point in the future when you retire. And this is a no-brainer, $1 per day. You're locked in at the price. There are 2 ways to sign up. everythingmoney.com or Patreon. The benefit of everythingmoney.com is we're not large enough yet to charge a sales tax, so you get to save the sales tax for the time being. So again, guys, $1 per day gets you locked in, leads to hundreds of thousands, if not millions. No brainer, sign up.
Final thumbs up. See you next video.